Hello everybody, welcome back to today's video, and today we will be looking at another 2028 presidential matchup, this time between vice presidential nominee in 2024 for the Democrats and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as Democratic nominee, with Maryland Governor Wes Moore as his vice presidential running mate, running up against, as always, current Vice President and former Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, with current Secretary of State and former Florida Senator Marco Rubio. So, as always, we will be starting off with the safe Democratic states. The safe Democratic states are going to be the ones that will go Democrat by over 15 percentage points. So, if we go to 2024, this map, we saw that California, Washington, Maryland, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's 1st Congressional District were the only states to go safe Democrat. I believe that all of those will go safe Democrat in 2028. So all of these, Vermont and Maine's 1st. Adding on to those, I believe Oregon will go safe Democrat. I believe Colorado will go safe Democrat in 2028. I believe Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island. Look at how close these were to going safe Democrat. It's just that the red wave that Donald Trump brought made them likely Democrat. Except for Colorado, that was 4 points off. But Republicans are losing ground in the Rocky state. Now, for the safe Republican states, we saw a lot of those in 2024. Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska's 3rd Congressional District, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Nebraska's at large will be the ones that I will be putting in safe Republican this time around. A couple states have been shifting to the left, and a couple were just usually likely Republican, but Donald Trump, in that red wave, made them safe. So these are going to be the safe Republican states this time around. So now let's head over to the likely Democratic seats. These are going to be the states that will go to Democrats by 5 to 15 percentage points. This time a lighter shade, obviously. I will be putting New Mexico. It was kind of close to being lean Democrat, which is 1 to 5 percentage points going to Democrats, but New Mexico was able to be D plus 6. Illinois, this one is shifting to the right. Obviously, it went to Harris by 11 points in 2024, but in 2020, Biden won it by 17, so it did shift a bit good to the right. I think it's going to shift to the right again, obviously not by that much. I think Walz would be able to win it by 9 points. In Virginia, this one was kind of close, but I think it's a relatively blue state. I don't think it's trending to the right. I believe that Tim Walz will win it by 7 percentage points. Now, obviously these ones were safe at this time around, but New Jersey and New York, similar to Illinois, these are shifting to the right, but not close there yet. I believe New Jersey could be lean Democrat, but I think Walz wins it by 5.5. And New York, I think Walz wins by around 8 percentage points. 10 percentage points, 9 percentage points right there. And Minnesota, as well as Maine's at large, 2 electoral votes. So Minnesota is obviously Walz's home state. Walz is quite popular in his home state. It was I think it was a the 8th most competitive state in 2024, sorry. So I think Walz still wins it good because it is his home state. He wins it by 7 percentage points. And in Maine, this one was Harris plus 7. I think she will be able to win it again by 10 percentage points. Sorry, Tim Walz wins it by 10 percentage points. And the final likely Democratic state is going to be Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. Harris won it by almost likely Democrat in 2024. Nebraska's 2nd is also shifting to the left. I think Walz wins it by 7 percentage points. Now for the likely Republican states, there will be Montana, Utah, Mississippi, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska's 1st, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, Ohio, Illinois, Alaska, and Maine's at large. So, these ones, Utah was Trump plus 21 in 2024. In 2020, it was Trump plus 20. Utah is shifting to the left. Montana, R plus 20 in 2024. It was almost likely Republican in 2020. I think it's going to be R plus 14. Utah is going to be right around R plus 15. Kansas was R plus 16. I think it's going to be R plus 13. Nebraska's first was actually likely Republican in 2024. I think it's going to be Vance wins it by 8. Texas is shifting left, but Trump was able to make it extremely red. I think Walz keeps some of that ground, and he wins it by 10 percentage points. Florida, I think it's almost a maxed out Republican. I think Vance wins by 14. Mississippi, in 2020, Mississippi was Trump plus 16. I think Vance wins it by 14. South Carolina, Trump won by 18 in 2020, and it was likely Republican in no, Trump won it by 18 in 2024. Trump won it by likely Republican in 2020. I think Vance wins by 13 around that. Maine's 2nd congressional district is shifting to the left. Trump won it by 9 points in 2024, and he actually only won by 7 points in 2020. I think Vance wins by around 6 percentage points, and I think that is going to be it for the likely Republican states. Yeah, so now we're moving on to our final swing states. We have 97 electoral votes left. Seven of these are the core swing states: Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. New Hampshire was the closest non-swing state in 2024. Harris won it by 2.8 percentage points. In 2020, Biden won it by 7.4. It shifted around 5 points to the right in the red wave year. It was actually less close than Arizona, Nevada, and North Carolina. So, New Hampshire, I think it still stays blue. I think Tim Walz wins it by 3 percentage points. Vance and Rubio wouldn't do good in the Northeast. Walz would actually do fine there. So now let's move on to our core swing states, starting off in Arizona. Arizona, I think Vance wins it by 3.5 percentage points. Trump won it by 5.5 percentage points. The only likely Republican state. This was the first time Arizona was likely Republican since 2012. Mitt Romney won it by 9 points, and this was before it even became a swing state. Even John McCain won by 8.5 percentage points here in a very, very big blue wave year. Barack Obama won over 300 electoral votes. So, I think it stays Republican with Vance, although Vance does lose some of the Hispanic and Native American ground here that Donald Trump and the more MAGA candidates do have. Some of that support. Marco Rubio does recover a bit of it. Although he's a Cuban American, he still does fine among them. I think, yeah, that does carry Vance to victory in Arizona. Now for Wisconsin, I have Wisconsin going lean Democrat. This one is very similar to parts of Wisconsin. Northwest Wisconsin is very similar to Minnesota, at least parts of rural Minnesota, at least. Much more similar to what Vance appeals in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania. So, I think Wisconsin should go fairly well to Tim Walz. Wisconsin was also the bluest swing state in 2024, although it wasn't, although it didn't go to Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Trump only won it by 0.86 percentage points. So, logically, it should be the easiest swing state to flip in 2028. Moving on, let's go to North Carolina. I would be putting this state into the lean Republican category. Along with North Carolina and parts of South Carolina and Georgia, in Raleigh, in Charleston, in Atlanta, those suburbs there are shifting to the left. The Atlanta suburbs obviously are the biggest and most obvious scenario of this, but it is happening in Raleigh and parts of South Carolina. So, it should be closer than 2024 by quite a bit because Donald Trump did win by 3.2 percentage points, but I believe Vance will still carry the state by 2.0 percentage points. The last time North Carolina went blue was obviously in 2008 when Obama flipped it by only 0.33 percentage points, and Mitt Romney flipped it back, although still losing in 2012. Now we only have 56 electoral votes left. Now let's go to the state of Nevada. We will be putting that into the lean Republican category. In this southwest area, Tim Walz and Westmore, they don't have much appeal. Westmore obviously does the best among African American communities in more urban cities. Tim Walz does fine among more rural, moderate Democrats. So Nevada and Arizona don't fit any of those, and J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio should have the upper hand against Walz in the Southwest, the Sun Belt, at least Nevada and Arizona. I believe Nevada will go to J.D. Vance by 1.6 percentage points. Trump won this state by 3.1 in 2024. This state went to Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden in both 2016 and 2020. So, let's go to Michigan now. I'll be putting this state into the tilt Democratic category. So Michigan is, once again, kind of like Wisconsin. This northern archipelago of Michigan is similar to parts of Minnesota. But unlike Wisconsin, Vance does have appeal in within blue collar workers in parts of Michigan. So Donald Trump actually did fairly well in Michigan compared to his predecessors. I mean, Obama won Michigan by almost double digits in 2012, and he won it by over 16 percentage points in 2008. Donald Trump flipped it. He shifted Michigan basically 10 points to the right in 2016, and then lost it to Joe Biden, but that's kind of obvious. Joe Biden does really good in the Rust Belt, and it was a blue wave year. Biden won by 3 points, and then Trump actually made Michigan red once again. So, Michigan, I think it should be easily not. It should be one of the closer swing states in 2028 if this is a matchup. But Tim Walz will win Michigan in this scenario by around 0.5 percentage points. Now let's head to Georgia, where we'll also be putting that into the tilt Democratic category. As I said before, when I was talking about North Carolina, Georgia, the Atlanta suburbs were shifting to the left. And I'm talking about this in every single presidential prediction because it is very important. You haven't really seen these shifts in Georgia for a long time. It used to be a pretty Republican state. Obviously, it's been shifting to the left because it hasn't gone blue. 2020 was the first time it had went blue in decades, right? I think the last time, Bill Clinton won it in 1992, when Ross Perot was actually taking a lot of the vote, slightly more from Bush than Clinton, but Georgia, it will. I used to think it was kind of an automatic flip for Democrats, but I've realized that is no longer the case, and Democrats will really have to fight hard for a win in Georgia. Now it is all up on Pennsylvania for either candidate to reach 270. If J.D. Vance wins Pennsylvania, he gets 271. If Walz wins, he gets 286. So Pennsylvania was also the key swing state for either candidate's victory in 2024. 19 electoral votes, the largest swing state, and the largest state with the most electoral votes, besides California, Texas, Florida, and New York. So I think Pennsylvania will go tilt Republican in 2028. If this is the scenario, J.D. Vance does better in Pennsylvania than any other swing state. He contributes the most to any other in Pennsylvania compared to any other swing state because this is really where his platform is good because that's how he won against Tim Ryan in 2022. His platform really connected to a lot of common Ohioans, and that message will sort of halfway apply to Pennsylvania. So that is really what's going to help J.D. Vance to win in this scenario in 2028. So Tim Walz, he has a pretty okay chance of winning in 2028 the Democratic nomination. He is sort of one of those long shot candidates, but at this point we really have no idea who's going to win the Democratic nomination. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.